This is Johnny Mathis.
I'm Doris Day.
This is Nat King Cole.
I'm Andy Williams.
This is Engelbert Humperdinck, and you're listening to the Sounds of Christmas.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ken Kessler, and welcome to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. If you're new to this podcast, I want to start by saying thanks for joining us. If you're not new, welcome back. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Now, to avoid any confusion, I want to start off by saying there won't be any music played here. This is a place for conversation. I'll talk about Christmas music and some related topics, sometimes by myself and sometimes with guests. If you're looking for music, just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. We play the best variety of Christmas music all year long. Well, except in October, when we play the best variety of Halloween music. It was announced this week that Johnny Mathis is going to stop touring after June of this year due to some health concerns. Johnny is 89 years old. Personally, I'd like to still be around in my late 80s, but it's been amazing and inspirational how active Johnny has been even the last few years. I'm not sure that I'm that active now. Since Johnny has released so much Christmas music, including several songs that still get lots of airplay on traditional radio stations, I thought I'd do kind of a deep dive into his Christmas music catalog. First, a little background. Johnny Mathis has recorded, I believe, 79 studio albums so far. 10 of those sold over 500,000 units and were awarded gold certification by the Recording Industry Association of America. 6 of his compilation albums also accomplished this, and of those 16 gold albums, 6 eventually went platinum by reaching sales of 1 million copies. His album Johnny's Greatest Hits, a 1958 collection that has been described as the, quote, original greatest hits package, end quote, and once held the record for most weeks on Billboard magazine's album chart with a total of 490, 3 of which were spent at number 1. The recurring appearance of Johnny's holiday releases on the various album charts in Billboard began with 1958's Merry Christmas, which peaked at number 3 during the 4 weeks it spent that holiday season on the magazine's biggest album chart, now known as the Billboard 200, and returned to place at various positions within the top 40 slots there for the next 4 years. When the magazine first had a separate chart for Christmas albums from 1963 to 1973, Merry Christmas ranked somewhere in the top 10 on it for another 7 years. And on the top pop catalog chart that was created for older titles, it had 8 return appearances during the 1990s. His Sounds of Christmas LP spent 2 weeks at number 2 on the Christmas album chart upon its 1963 release and recharted for the next 5 years. And 1969's Give Me Your Love for Christmas reached number 1 there during its first of several annual chart showings before achieving platinum certification. Other notable holiday projects include Home for Christmas, a 1990 home video special that went platinum, and Sending You a Little Christmas, a 2013 release that earned him a Grammy nomination in the category of Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album. Mathis also recorded 43 songs that reached Billboard magazine's Hot 100 chart in the United States, and another 9 that bubbled under the Hot 100. 6 of these 52 recordings made the top 10, including 1957's Chances Are and the 1978 Denise Williams duet Too Much, Too Little, Too Late, which each spent a week at number 1. 32 of them are also on the list of 50 entries that Mathis had on the magazine's Easy Listening chart, which was started in 1961. 19 of those 50 songs made the top 10 on that list, and 2 of them, I'm Coming Home and Too Much, Too Little, Too Late, went on to number 1. The duet with Denise Williams also spent 4 weeks at number 1 on the magazine's R&B chart and was certified gold after selling 1 million copies. Johnny has been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame for 3 separate recordings, in 1998 for Chances Are, in 2002 for Misty, and in 2008 for It's Not For Me to Say. In 2003, the Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences awarded Johnny Mathis the Lifetime Achievement Award. This special merit award is presented by the vote of the Recording Academy's national trustees to performers who, during their lifetimes, have made creative contributions of outstanding artist significance to the field of recording. That was 22 years ago. And yet, Johnny has continued to record and release new music, and he's continued to tour. And now let's dig into the Christmas music. His first Christmas album, which was his sixth album overall, was called Merry Christmas, and it was released in 1958. The selections are a mix of traditional Christmas carols like Silent Night, O Holy Night, The First Noel, and 20th century songs of the season, including The Christmas Song, White Christmas, and Silver Bells. The album debuted on Billboard magazine's list of the 25 best-selling pop LPs in the U.S. and got as high as number 3 during its initial 4-week run. It made additional appearances there each holiday season from 1959 to 1962 and on the magazine's Christmas albums and pop catalog albums charts in subsequent years. As I already mentioned, it achieved gold certification from the Recording Industry Association of America for reaching sales of 500,000 copies in the U.S. That happened in December of 1960. In 2013, it was ranked as one of the top-selling Christmas albums of all time with 5 million copies sold. An edition featuring 2 bonus tracks, Christmas Eve and My Kind of Christmas, was released in 2003. The 2015 Johnny Mathis compilation, The Complete Christmas Collection 1958 to 2010, a 3-CD set on the Real Gone Music label, also includes the album in its track list. Johnny's next Christmas album was called The Sounds of Christmas. No, really. The Sounds of Christmas included 2 new songs, the title track and Have Reindeer Will Travel, as well as covers of some lesser-known recordings by Andy Williams, Christmas is a Feeling in Your Heart, and Bing Crosby, A Marshmallow World and The Secret of Christmas. His album Merry Christmas reached number 3 on the pop album chart that eventually became known as the Billboard 200. In 1963, however, Billboard began publishing special weekly Christmas album sales charts, where Sounds of Christmas spent 2 weeks at number 2 during the holiday season. It appeared on the magazine's seasonal LP chart each year from 1964 to 1968 as well. 2 songs from the album, The Little Drummer Boy and Have Reindeer Will Travel, were released that year as a single, and The Little Drummer Boy spent its 1 week on the Billboard Christmas Singles chart at number 21. It had another 1-week showing there at number 11 the following December. I want to mention a couple things about Billboard. Over the years, as you've heard in this episode, they've changed the different kinds of charts they've had. And while I'm not begrudging them changes because music changes and culture changes and they're just trying to change with the times, and that's fine. I get that. But the thing is that it's difficult to compare a song from, say, 1960 to something that came out last year based on chart performance, because the charts today didn't exist in 1960, and many of the charts in 1960 don't exist today. I'm not faulting Billboard or calling them out or anything. I just think that that's something to keep in mind, because it's not really a level playing field when you think about an album Johnny Mathis released in 1958 versus an album that Kelly Clarkson released in 2024. Charts are different. That's all. That's just the point I wanted to make. Here's where it gets a little confusing, though Johnny Mathis is certainly not the only artist that had record labels do this sort of thing. In 1971, Columbia Records reissued this album on its Budget Harmony imprint as Christmas with Johnny Mathis, with different cover art and the 2 songs from the 1963 single omitted. This version of the album was later reissued on CD. The complete album was issued on CD with its original title, art, and track list by Legacy Recordings in 2014 as part of the box set, The Complete Global Albums Collection. The 2015 Johnny Mathis compilation, The Complete Christmas Collection 1958 to 2010, also includes the entirety of the Sounds of Christmas album in its track list. Johnny's third Christmas album was called Give Me Your Love for Christmas, and it was released in 1969. The oldest song on this album was the 1934 classic Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which meant there were not the traditional hymns as on his previous Christmas albums. He did, however, covers several other contemporary Christmas favorites along with a few new and lesser-known songs, such as the title track, which was a reworking of an unreleased recording of his from 1961, and Christmas Day, which came from the then-current Broadway musical Promises, Promises. New versions of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas and The Little Drummer Boy, which he also recorded in 1963 for his previous Christmas album, made the final track list here as well. The album debuted on Billboard magazine's Christmas album sales chart and spent one of its 4 weeks there at number 1. It also appeared on the magazine's seasonal LP chart each year from 1970 to 1973, as well as in 1987 and 1988. In 1979, it received its first award from the Recording Industry Association of America when it reached the U.S. sales mark of 500,000 copies sold. In 2001, the album was released on CD for the first time, and 2 months after its CD release, it was awarded platinum certification, which means it sold 1 million copies. Tracks from this album were also reissued as part of the 2015 Johnny Mathis compilation, The Complete Christmas Collection, 1958 to 2010. Johnny's fourth Christmas album, Christmas Eve with Johnny Mathis, came out in 1986. The album spent a week on Billboard magazine's Christmas albums chart in 1992. No such chart was published in 1986. And 2 weeks on its top pop catalog albums chart in 1994. The album's opening track, It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, was featured in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York in 1992 and included on that movie's soundtrack. In 1993, Johnny released The Christmas Music of Johnny Mathis, a personal collection. This was a compilation album that included selections from the 4 Christmas albums that he had recorded to that point. That album made its first appearance on Billboard magazine's album chart in 1993 and remained there for 3 weeks, peaking at number 162. It received gold certification from the Recording Industry Association of America for sales of 500,000 copies in 2001 and achieved peak positions of 29 on the magazine's Christmas albums chart and 30 on its top pop catalog chart in 2002. Johnny's 5th Christmas album was simply called The Christmas Album, and it was released in 2002. It included his first recordings of 3 traditional carols, Joy to the World, Away in a Manger, and O Little Town of Bethlehem, along with 3 new songs, Heavenly Peace, A Christmas Love Song, and Merry Christmas. Plus, Frosty the Snowman, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas, and Christmas Time Is Here. In December, the album reached number 23 on Billboard magazine's top holiday album chart and number 143 on the Billboard 200. The album also gave Johnny his first entry on Billboard's list of the top adult contemporary songs of the week. This was the first time since 1988 when his hit I'm on the Outside Looking In was number 27. From this album, Frosty the Snowman reached number 29. In 2006, Johnny released Gold, a 50th anniversary Christmas celebration, a compilation that included selections from 4 of the first 5 Christmas albums that he had released: Merry Christmas, Sounds of Christmas, Christmas Eve with Johnny Mathis, and The Christmas Album. It also included 2 tracks that were recorded with other artists: O Tannenbaum, which comes from Mannheim Steamroller's 2001 album Christmas Extraordinaire, and a medley duet of Winter Wonderland and Let It Snow with Bette Midler from her 2006 holiday album Cool Yule. This compilation reached number 191 during its first appearance on Billboard's album chart, and it made annual chart runs on the Billboard 200 from 2013 to 2017, with its best showing in 2016 when it reached 104. Johnny's 6th Christmas album was called Sending You a Little Christmas, and it was released in 2013. In addition to piano accompaniment on the title track by its composer, Jim Brickman, this album featured duets with guest vocalist Susan Boyle, Natalie Cole, Gloria Estefan, Vince Gill, Amy Grant, Billy Joel, and the Jordanaires. The album peaked at number 13 on Billboard magazine's list of the top holiday albums and number 53 on the Billboard 200 album chart. Title track also did well that winter during its run on the magazine's adult contemporary chart, where its number 4 showing was the highest that he'd had there since 1978, when he and Denise Williams took Too Much, Too Little, Too Late to number 1. Sending You a Little Christmas was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album. In 2014, Johnny released the Classic Christmas album, a compilation that included two 1961 recordings that were previously unavailable, Old Kris Kringle and the original version of the title track from his 1969 Christmas album, Give Me Your Love for Christmas. Three other songs, Christmas in the City of Angels, Sign of the Dove, and The Very First Christmas Day, made their debut on CD as of this release, and two other non-album singles, Christmas Is and My Kind of Christmas, were also included. The collection also includes a selection or two from several of his Christmas studio albums, Sleigh Ride from Merry Christmas, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas from Sounds of Christmas, Calypso Noel from Give Me Your Love for Christmas, The Christmas Waltz and It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas from Christmas Eve with Johnny Mathis, and Home for the Holidays from Sending You a Little Christmas, as well as his duet with Bette Midler from her 2006 holiday album Cool Yule, which was a medley of Winter Wonderland and Let It Snow. The Complete Christmas Collection, 1958 to 2010, a 3-disc box set, was released in 2015. The set includes Johnny's 5 holiday albums from that period in their entirety. It also compiles all of Johnny's holiday songs that were only released as singles, as well as thematically appropriate songs from his non-holiday albums. When a Child is Born from I Only Have Eyes for You, the holiday version of What a Wonderful World from Let It Be Me, and his 2 recordings of Ave Maria from Good Night, Dear Lord, which bookend the set. In 2022, Johnny released an EP of 4 newly recorded Christmas songs. The EP was called A Merry Little Christmas and included Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, Blue Christmas, When a Child is Born, and White Christmas. All 4 of those recordings would show up on his album the following year. His 7th and most recent Christmas album was Christmas Time Is Here, which was released in 2023. This was also his 79th studio album. This album includes new versions of several songs Johnny had previously recorded, along with a terrific version of Merry Christmas Baby and a duet with Kristen Chenoweth on Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Wow, that is a lot of Christmas music. And now a little bit about recent radio airplay. In December of 2011, Billboard began a holiday songs chart with 50 positions that monitored the last 5 weeks of each year to rank the top holiday hits of all eras using the same methodology as the Hot 100, blending streaming, airplay, and sales data. And in 2013, the number of positions on the chart was doubled, resulting in the Holiday 100. Obviously, I'm mentioning this because some of Johnny's recordings have made appearances on the Holiday 100 many times. His version of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas has appeared 14 consecutive years, every single year that this chart has been around. Sleigh Ride has shown up 6 different times. We Need a Little Christmas and Winter Wonderland have each appeared 5 times. Surprisingly, at least to me, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year has only shown up 3 times. And Oh Holy Night only showed up once in 2013. That's a lot of Christmas music. 7 albums, some stray singles, and a lot of radio airplay. Not to mention many, many years of Christmas concerts. By the way, according to Johnny's website, there are 4 concerts left, not Christmas concerts. 2 coming up in April and 2 in May. I'll put a link to his website in the show notes so you can easily find it if you're interested. And just because Johnny's done touring doesn't necessarily mean there won't be more music. But even if this is it, it's still a lot of Christmas music that we'll be lucky enough to play for a very long time. Thanks so much for listening, helping me share some Christmas spirit, and for continuing to support the Sounds of Christmas station and podcast. I told you how to listen to the station, and you're listening to the podcast already, so my work here is just about done. All of our episodes are available on the Sounds of Christmas website. Just click the podcast tab. And we also have a Linktree page, and I'll put a link to that down in the show notes. So you can click on that, find us on your favorite streaming site, click on over, then subscribe, and you'll never miss another episode. If you have comments or suggestions on this episode, previous episodes, or the Sounds of Christmas station, feel free to reach out to me on social media or through the website. And if you're listening to this episode on your phone, you can also click the Send Us a Text message link and connect that way. Thanks again. And may you always believe in Santa Claus.